If you're planning on buying any cards from TCG Player, make sure you use our affiliate link right here in the description of our video to help support the channel. It's the best way to do it and it's free. Looking for PTGO codes? Potown Store has all the latest sets and promos, instantly delivered to your email. You can use tablemon code when checking out for 5% off. Card Market is Europe's largest online marketplace for Pokemon cards. Whether you're looking for sealed product or singles, vintage or the latest sets, just follow the link in the description to find what you need. Want to show off your love for tablemon? Check out my 2021 merch. These new hoodies and shirts are available on Amazon. Click on the link in the description to get yours. This video is sponsored by the Pokemon TCG deck building website PokemonCard.io.
So going into Salt Lake City, I was fairly certain I was going to play Mew, but then about the night before the event, I was testing with Isaiah Bradner, Rahul, John, Sam, and them, and we were playing all the decks, playing Mew, playing more RC Centellion, playing Malamar, a bunch of different stuff, and then eventually we wanted to just try and make the best RC Centellion list possible that was also good for Mirror, and then that also had Sydney and Path to the Peak. So that's where the idea came from, and then we added the B barrel just to draw more cards. Over the course of the day, I played Chris Roshmansky round 1. He was playing Mew, and then I lost that. And then I lost a couple other games, and then went 2-2-1 on the start of the day. And then I went out 6-2-1 to make day 2, and then actually won 4 in a row to go 10-2-1. And then ID'd the last round with Drew Kennett to go 10-2-2. Going into top 8, I was hoping to play not Finn, to be honest, just because it wasn't a matchup I was super comfortable with. I would prefer to play against one of the Swingle Strike Gengar decks, or even Drew, or something like that, just to have just something that I knew more often. And then I played against Finn. Good set on stream. I had a lot of fun. Didn't get the best draws, but he also prized some things too. Prized Zigzagoon. He prized Cape of Toughness. Didn't draw V-Star off of a research. Didn't draw anything off of Marnie, like, after that stuff, but it was a good series, a lot of fun, back and forth. Always fun to be on stream again, and then happy to top 8 another regional.
Hey, what's up? This is Smart TCG, and I most recently got top 8 at the Salt Lake City Regional Championships with over 600 players with Gengar VMAX. I finished with a record of 10 wins, 2 losses, and 2 ties, and before falling in top 8 to Nicholas Moffat playing Arceus V-Star in Teleon with the Galarian Zapdos. But this is the list that I ended up playing. Reason I wanted to play this deck was because I was expecting tons of Mew VMAX, and Gengar VMAX does incredibly well versus that matchup with that Fear and Panic doing 60 times 60 for each V and GX in play, and Gmax while dealing 250 damage. So this card just naturally does really well versus Mew VMAX. You also got cards like Path of the Peak that are going to help against Mew VMAX, Draw It on VMAX, Arceus V-Star's Starbirth. So when I was deciding to choose this deck, you know, over a lot of other like super good decks, like I kind of had everything on the table, I decided to choose Gengar VMAX simply because it had a fantastic Mew matchup and could beat pretty much anything else in the format. And I finished off 10-2-2. I actually started off 3-2, and I had to go 7-0-2 in my final 9 rounds to make it in my win-in. I took down a Jolteon 2-1, and then I was able to ID round, I believe, 14 to Finnegan Lynch to secure my spot into the top cut. But this is Gengar VMAX. I think this list is super good, and I think that this deck is going to continue to stay a meta deck as long as those decks like Arceus V-Star and also Mew VMAX stay relevant in the metagame. Currently, as of right now, I would not change anything in this list, and I think this is a great starting point. Cards like the Stone Journer were great for the mirror match. Cards like Luminion were fantastic to be able to grab that draw supporter, and, you know, overall, things like the VIP pass really just help those turns ones for those explosive starts. But anyways, this is my Gengar VMAX deck. I had a lot of fun with it, and I think it is a great choice for future you know, like tournaments. Like we got UIC coming up, we got Secaucus, Vancouver, Indianapolis as well. So we've got a ton of events coming up, and I think this deck makes a great choice. All right, this is Smart TCG. Peace out.
Hey guys, my name is Nick Moffin and I just got top 4 at the Salt Lake City Regional Championship playing RCS Inteleon Birds. I was super excited for this event as it was the first one in 2 years and I put a lot more practice in than I usually would for regionals, and I think that ended up really paying off for me. So in day 1, I played against an Arceus Whimsicott, an Arceus Inteleon, 4 Mew VMAX, and 2 Gengars, which I won against all of them. And my one tie was against a deck that I really didn't expect to see, which was our Inteleon VMAX, the Rapid Strike one. The only reason I was able to get a tie there was because he unfortunately had a double prize loss in the second game, which allowed me to win that one, and then we tied the series. So I was really happy going into day 2 at 801 first seed. And then in day 2, I played against Arceus Malamar VMAX in round 10. And I lost that one because in the first game, I forgot to use Training Court to get an energy back from my discard pile, and that kind of cost me the game. And then game 2, I just dead drew, which happens. Round 11, I went up against another Mew, my 5th one of the tournament, and I was able to win that one. And then round 12 was my win into top 8, was against Isaiah Bradner playing Arceus Inteleon. And luckily they didn't play the Dunsparce, so I was just able to use Zapdos to kind of carry that match and ended up winning 2-0. So I was super excited to be locked for my first ever top 8 at a regional. And I was just able to ID the last 2 rounds. Then in top 8, I played against Gengar, which I was pretty confident about as I'd beaten 2 in day 1. But I did lose the first game because I just went draw pass. But then I was able to win games 2 and 3 pretty handedly. In top 4, I went against Suicune, which was the one deck I really didn't want to see. And I did make some crucial mistakes in games 1 and 3 that I think I could have had a better chance had I not done those. But I was still able to win game 2 of that one. But overall, I was super happy with my finish. Getting top 4 at the first regionals back in over 2 years was pretty awesome. Yeah, that's all. Have a good one.
Hello, my name is Daniel Finnegan Lynch. I got second place at Salt Lake City Regionals a couple weekends ago. I played Suicune Ludicolo. I faced 7 Mews. I beat 6 of them. I played against Arceus decks for all of top 8, and I faced 2 Arceus decks in day 1. So very much the meta that many people were expecting to see at the event. Faced a lot of solid top tier decks rather than random sort of out there decks. And I also faced a Gengar, which I ID'd to, and the only really weird thing I ran into was round 1 of day 1. I played against Crobat V Max with Wheezing, the ability lock Wheezing. Crobat V Max's attack switches it to the bench and does 70 the active. Doesn't really matter, that's just the only sort of rogue deck I faced. I basically, so I beat everything I faced other than one of the Mew players. He just got a bit lucky against me. More like I got unlucky. I had to start with my Suicune 2 out of the 3 games, which you don't want to do in that matchup ever, whether you go first or second. And then I prized a cross switcher in the 3rd game, which lost me that match. So just a little bit of variance there. And then in finals, I lost to Arceus Gengar, which is just a very bad matchup. The Collapse Stadium with the Big Charm on Gengar combined with their ability to bench very few Pokemon sort of just worked as a very good counter to my Suicune deck. So I would say that the list I played was a big part of the reason why I did well, with 4 Cross Switcher, an Echoing Horn, a Cape of Toughness, and a Choice Belt. Those sort of specific counts and those inclusions really carried me through a lot of the tournament. And then I would also say just learning how to sequence the deck, perfectly was also a big part of it. And, just testing every matchup several times. So that's how Salt Lake went. I love the deck. I'll probably play it again in the future. I'm going to Germany for EUIC next month, and maybe I'll play it again. Maybe I'll switch to something else. I'm not sure. So. That's it.
Drew Bennett Kennett, also known as the Law Firm. I was the regional winner of Salt Lake City Regionals, the first regionals back in the US, so that's very exciting. A little short tournament report about what happened there was I took a kind of different approach on Arceus with Gengar VMAX that no one really was expecting. Those two, no one really thought they paired well together because you don't get to have access to that single strike energy, making Gengar more powerful. However, it did end up working out. Just the sheer consistency of Arceus and the power of Gengar really just made it so I could just take advantage of any inconsistent decks, and I just had a wide variety of positive matchups just because Gengar does just hit so hard against anything. Day one started off pretty poorly. I lost the first round to Mew VMAX. In my head immediately, I'm thinking, wow, clearly I did not test well against Fusion and Mew, because losing round one to what you expected to be the most popular deck and what you wanted to be your best matchup was brutal. I eventually ended up starting 2-2, and at that point, I was kind of over it. I was debating just like getting rid of all my cards. I tested so hard for this tournament. I was so ready, and I started my day 2-2. I was like, well, about to hit up some friends, asking them how to get into Digimon. I was like, let's try a new card game. I put in my headphones, put up my hood, took a walk around the convention center a couple times, just like focused on myself and realized that there were probably some plays I needed to make to have a better chance of making day two at that point. I wasn't even thinking about winning the tournament there. I just wanted to make that day two in the first regionals back. Then I proceeded to not lose another match the entire tournament. If I lost any match at any point throughout the tournament, my chances of top 8ing and winning the event was gone. So just luckily being able to beat all the fusions that I came across after that, all the Gengars, the single strike decks, and every Arceus variant, it was great. My deck worked exactly how it was supposed to work, and I was very happy with the experience. It was great to be back into a IRL event and just seeing all my friends that I haven't seen in 2-3 years. And just to win that is such a fun, positive experience.